Assassins, Hidden Ones, and even Templars are covert agents who are likely to use stealth in their daily operations. Assassins and Hidden Ones are most effective when they move unseen and quickly. Templars can easily manipulate key targets when they are shrouded in mystery and obscurity. And so whether you are playing as Arno or as Shay or Bayek, there will be that feeling in the back of your mind that you need to play as a sneaky character. That you need to follow the creed and hide in plain sight if you want to be lore accurate. However, if you actually think about it, you actually don't have to sneak. And no, it's just not because you are not getting desynchronized when you are detected or decide to clear a whole outpost with dual shields as a Viking. Though depending on context, those things can be indicators but never a rule. But going back to my point, not sneaking can be lore accurate since in every mainline Assassin's Creed game, you are never playing as the actual assassin. In AC 1 through 3, you are not experiencing Altair's or Connor's memories firsthand. You are experiencing those actions through the eyes of Desmond. In Unity and Syndicate, you are playing as someone who is using the Animus to find certain pieces of Eden that Arno and the Fry twins interacted with. And in Origins, Odyssey, and Valhalla, you are playing as Layla, someone who's trying to find the truth and save the world. Basically, you are a dude playing as another dude, experiencing the memories of another dude. And so what does this mean? Well, it depends on the game and the modern day character's motivation. In AC 1 through 3, since you're playing as Desmond, who is training to be an assassin while also looking for pieces of Eden, the lore accurate move will be to follow the Assassin's Creed and maximize the experience as if you were training. So for example, to maximize training Desmond's parkour skills and stomach for assassination and dead bodies, always parkouring on rooftops and assassinating every guard you see would be a great practice. I can also see the optional objectives like the ones that require you to complete a memory unseen or in a specific way, allow Desmond to train specific skill sets. For these reasons, I do think that stealth is lore accurate in AC 1 through 3, since Desmond will want to train this skill as someone who is anticipating physical confrontations with Templars. However, in games starting from Black Flag until the most recent, there's really no incentive for the modern day character to lean heavily on stealth. For Black Flag, for example, the modern day protagonist was just grabbing information from Abstergo and using his position in the company as a disguise. So unless the Animus is rejecting him for not being stealthy, which would jeopardize his position, he can basically run around the Caribbean shooting every hostile NPC. The same goes for Unity and Syndicate. Since the main goals of the protagonist were to find the Sage's remains and a piece of Eden, the protagonist controlling Arno and the Fry twins can just go ahead and bull rush every mission, as long as the Animus is not spitting them out. All they need to do is scour through the memories as quickly as they can to find the things they need fast. I mean, take for example Unity's ending where you end up not finding the Sage. If you put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist, it would seem like you wasted your time. So playing through the memories quickly would be incentivized if they are planning to jump to other memories as well. My point is further strengthened in the RPG games where microtransactions and absurd skins are present. You see, Layla was more than just a rogue Abstergo employee and Animus enjoyer. She's kinda good with tech, and so she is able to hack the Animus. These hacks allow her to manipulate the Animus like in Origins, where you can hack save files using the Animus control panel. While this system is now offline in the game, it used to allow players to tinker with various settings from enemy AI to character appearance. These hacks also somehow make those absurd fantasy skins lore accurate, since you can say that they are merely mods that Layla puts into the Animus to spice things up. Perhaps Layla is someone who gets bored quickly looking at the same character for 10 hours and finds it more engaging to dress up Cassandra and Eivor. And so what can we conclude from this? Well, it simply means that the lore accurate way to play Assassin's Creed games is to understand the modern day. The real Evie would probably take her time in every mission and try to keep hidden at all times. But as someone playing a dude who's looking for the Shroud's location and is in a race against the Templars to find it, you'll probably want to search those memories fast. And what's the fastest way but to brute force your way and kill every hostile? In some cases, especially in the most recent games, wearing absurd outfits can be taken as lore accurate if the modern day character can be interpreted as someone who will likely do it. For example, in Origins, since Lila is experiencing the bleeding effect, outfitting Bayek with different clothing depending on the environment may be taken as a coping mechanism. Then in Odyssey and Valhalla, where outfits have various effects, it can be taken as Lila playing around with the Animus and adding mods to make things easier. This would explain outfits and items that affect combat, stealth, and other gameplay mechanics. Layla may have wanted to tweak the experience to make it easier to get past them, especially when she's playing as Isu incarnates doing inhuman feats. In games like Mirage and Shadows, the modern day guy is pretty mysterious, so that will be up to the headcanon of the player. So for the lore accurate way they'll play and the reason for choosing a certain cosmetic will be dependent on your interpretation as the player. So this raises a question: should Assassin's Creed just abandon stealth overall? I mean, in the RPG games, stealth has taken a back seat and has been mostly optional, so it's not really far-fetched to assume this. Well, the thing is, I don't think AC should ever abandon stealth. Regardless of the mental gymnastics that I've talked about in this video, Assassins and Hidden Ones are still groups that utilize stealth as a main way of working. Heck, the tenets of the Assassin's Creed, the namesake of the franchise, talks about hiding in plain sight and never compromising the Brotherhood. So to take this away would be to take away a core identity of the franchise. Instead, I think Assassin's Creed needs to craft better modern day stories to align these ideas. I get that the RPG Creeds wanted to give players more agency in how they play, which is why the gameplays are not restrictive to stealth nor Lila's motives incentivize her into being one with the protagonists. But the problem here is that if you look deeper, it kinda breaks the stealth vibe that the franchise began with. It would have been better if there is a lore reason as to why the modern day protagonist will want to be stealthy during Animus sections. One good example that I can think of is the Animus being a training tool for up-and-coming initiates. This will incentivize the use of stealth and not just the simple crouch and assassinate moves, but also information gathering skills like scouting and investigations. I can even see William Miles scolding the initiates inside the Animus if they've been neglecting stealth throughout the training mission. Though the problem I see here would be the franchise's willingness to restrict player agency. Because as I've said, while the RPG Creeds abandoned the focus on stealth, it did allow players to play as they want. You can be a tanky fighter Eivor, a nimble archer Cassandra, or a silent assassin Bayek. Yes, the mechanics are bare bones, but the idea is there and just needed a bit more love and care execution-wise. But if they really want player agency, I think it can still be done while still focusing on stealth. And this is simply by playing around with different stealth character archetypes that offer great variety in terms of gameplay. Two obvious examples would be the stealth archer and the melee assassin, though these ones are already in the games and are actually viable ways to play them. The stealth archer is equivalent to the ranger while melee assassins is to the standard thief class. The challenge then is the tanky fighter class, which is basically the opposite of any stealth character. But for this, I'm thinking of someone who uses distractions or even illusions to replace the tanky part. So for example, instead of going in first as the fighter, they can summon mobs of NPCs to overwhelm enemies. Alternatively, the use of berserk status like from darts or smokes also makes it so that certain enemies can act as a tank while they deal damage. Though another that I can think of would be a trickster type who uses aggressive surprise attacks. For example, they can use a feign that ability like from Valhalla to approach and trick enemies. Then when they are close enough, they can launch a surprise attack to deal with the targets quickly. There are other creative ways, but I think I'll save those for another day. So anyway, what do you think? Do you agree on my take on the lore accurate way to play Assassin's Creed games?